Hi, I'm Emma and welcome to Otterwood Cottage, our brand new small holding in the heart of rural Lincolnshire. So if you've ever wondered, and I'm sure you have because who hasn't, what two 16 by 24 foot polytunnels and a 10 by 10 metre fruit cage look when disassembled, this is how they look. As someone who loves jigsaw puzzles and building IKEA furniture, I couldn't be more excited about this project for next week when we're off. Today is Saturday and we've had a slow start on the small holding this morning. Lovely bacon and eggs for breakfast and a few more cups of tea than we probably should have had before getting going, but we needed a bit of a slow start. Mr H and I have got a week off this week. And so there's lots of plans for dealing with some of the deliveries we've had. We've also got our daughter home this week, and the plan is that we will be working on her bedroom as well, because her bedroom needs decorating and sorting out. She has particular plans for how she wants that to look. It's going to be beautiful. So a combination of inside and outside things to do over the half-term week. We're delighted to have some time together as a family as well. It's been a while since we've all been off together, just concentrating on getting on with things in the small holding. So the first job today from an outside point of view is Mr H and I are going to start, with the help of our electric fence poles, which came for another job over in Piggy Paradise. We will be marking out where we think the polytunnels and the fruit cage are going to go, to make sure that they fit and that we are thinking about everything we need to think about before we start putting them up. For example, they're going to go along the side of this electric fencing. We need to leave plenty of space between here and the electric fencing to be able to get down here for maintenance purposes, but also there will probably be some grass along here that will need to grow, so we need to leave a good width between the polytunnel and our boundary to be able to get down the side of the polytunnel for maintenance purposes, to clean the polytunnel and to get to the hedgerows. So we're going to do some marking out first before we start to the beginnings of the jigsaw puzzle of the three items that have come all together, the two polytunnels and the fruit cage. We'll have to start separating those into their relevant bits, so we've got the right bits to connect together for the right structure. So marking out first, and then we'll move on. Okay, so we've had a successful staking out of the three structures. So we've got the 32 by 32 foot fruit cage here, which feels plenty big enough, bigger than I thought. Weirdly, the polytunnels feel smaller than we thought, the fruit cages feel bigger than we thought, even though they're all in feet and you should be able to figure those things out in your mind. It's really hard when you're just looking at flat grassland or pasture or field to figure out distances. But it's looking good. We've changed plans already as we've been marking things out. So I said to you in the previous video that I dumped the stuff to go in the compost heaps over in that corner, because that was where we were going to build the compost heaps. We've now changed our minds because we think actually it's much more sensible to put the compost heaps in between the fruit cage and the brassica cage and the polytunnel, so that it's kind of really central to the growing area. So we're going to have a probably 6 bay, I said 3 bay before, but in conversation just now we think probably 6 bay, 4 for compost, turning every 3 months, and so it has 3 turns in a year, and then 2 to try and do some of our own leaf mould for instead of potting compost. Because ideally we'd like to get to the point where we don't have to buy that stuff in. It's really expensive. It's got more and more expensive in the years we've been growing. I don't know whether that's achievable even on this scale because of the sheer volumes you need, but we're going to try. So 2 bays for leaf mould, turning in between the 2 bays regularly, and then a 4 bay compost heap to turn 3 times across a year and be able to start again. So every 3 months we'll be turning, and then should end up at the end of a year cycle with compost to put on the beds. We were talking just now about the conundrum again about getting pallet wood for that, or potato crates is another suggestion that Wilkes made, my stepdad, which is another possibility. So we're going to see what we can get hold of, but that brings us back again to we need a tow bar. So I think tow bar has to move up the list so that we can start to collect stuff like that, rather than have to pay to get somebody to deliver things. Yeah, so you're constantly juggling. It's the hole in my bucket song, but in small holding lists, you're constantly juggling because there's as I said on another video, a limited amount of money that we borrowed to kind of get us started, seed money that we borrowed with a mortgage, and it's amazing how quickly you can pile through that if you're not careful. So one of the decisions we have made around with that in mind is we talked about whether we should get a quad bike or a mini tractor. We've done a little bit of research on the cost of those things, and the answer is we're not going to get either at the moment. We're going to wait and see what we really need on the small holding. So the 18 tons of stuff that's being delivered, compost and wood chip, that's being delivered on Tuesday, we're going to try and move by people power. We can do it. It's just a bit of brute force of energy. Lots of cups of tea and we'll be fine. What we did say though was even if we had a mini digger and we could move large amounts of it at a time to the field area, we're still going to have to barrow it into the polytunnel, into the fruit cage, onto the beds. So actually we're going to have to barrow it either way. It's just the speed at which we're going to be able to barrow it off the hard standing area where it's in our way and onto the field was the kind of limiting factor. But at the end of the day, if it has to stand on the hard standing area and we have to work our way around it, then that's what we're going to have to do, and just take our time if we need to. So human power, wheelbarrows, shovels to move that onto here. We decided in the end to leave 8 feet along the side that goes down between where the structures, the polytunnel, the brassica cage, fruit cage will be, and the electric fence. We think that's plenty of space to have, first of all, a strip of kind of weed suppressant cardboard and wood chip down along the edge of the structure, so you've not got grass growing up into nets and things, because that is a nightmare. We know from past experience on the allotment that as soon as you get grass growing up through your net, you may as well throw your net away because it just rips it when you try and take it out. And then there should be plenty of space still for us to be able to comfortably stand with a strimmer or a hedge trimmer, be able to get hedge trimmings off the boundary and have room for that to kind of go on the floor without being in danger of puncturing the polytunnel or ripping the net on the brassica. So 8 feet there, 8 feet between the polytunnel and the brassica cage, which is plenty of space for the doors to open. So we think we're laid out. It's really interesting because when you look at the land, we thought that this boundary was kind of straight at right angles to the house, and it's not at all. It shoots off at quite a steep angle to the left, so it's closer to the house at the front, quite a distance away from the house, and it's not till you start trying to line things up that you realise there's that difference. But we're keeping the 8 feet consistent along the side of the structures, rather than trying to line up with the house, because otherwise you're just creating loads of dead space that you don't need. So next stop, we are going to separate the jigsaw puzzle into its 3 constituent parts and move those out to the field, ready to start building. So the boxes are unpacked, the instructions are found, and we are ready to start building. We're going to start with the fruit cage. So the fruit cage bits are over here, and here are all the bits for the 2 tunnels, all laid out ready. So I think next step is to start shifting stuff up into the field to build our fruit cage.